So I've done about 77 reviews so far, and I haven't done a single G1 figure. Why? Well, I really didn't think that they were something I should or am required to talk about because they're not really for me. They're for the cool kids who worked 15 to 20 years and grew up with these toys. Also, I can't afford them. Jesus Christ, have you seen a sealed Optimus Prime price? And don't even get me started about Japanese G1. Holy shit. Some of those toys are just straight up inaccessible. Example, G1 Overlord. You could find one on eBay right now for the easy payment of 2 kidneys, your children, a 15th mortgage on your house, your marriage, and your right testicle. But all that changed the day the brown man himself, that toy guy, introduced me to the magical land of Bai. Little did I know that it's a haven for finding G1, specifically Japanese G1, for a good price, and lo and behold, I found the remaining parts to complete my G1 God Ginrai. As always, we start in vehicle mode, and we have a very much updated and upgraded Optimus Prime for the post-86 movie scale. You can really see how different it is when it's sitting next to a G1 Optimus Prime. And yes, I did call this thing Prime because, well, it is. Even though this was Jinrai's Transtector in Godmaster Force, it looks like Optimus, and it was intended to be until Jinrai's dumbass came and put some cock rings on his wrists, which explains why he ends up looking like Optimus Prime. Are you proud of yourself? That you deprived the greatest hero in the universe of coming back to life? Answer me, you little asshole. Anyways, we've got a truck mode here, and it looks pretty good. In my opinion, I think this is what G1's all about. A weighty and chunky truck with the chrome, the fuck you guns on the side, and just overall a beefed up armored truck mode, and I love it. And when you look at the trailer on its own, you can really see that. It maintains the silhouette of the original trailer, but it's definitely got some new design cues with the armor and the turrets on it. If we have a look at the cab alone, you'll see that he's a very nice standalone truck, and it looks good too. A great shade of red and blue, and actually an improvement over the American release because he has a die-cast cab. Honestly, the US version looks so cheap next to this thing. And looking back on it, it had to have been budgetary. But then you start to question it when you realize the American release has full smokestacks, and this one just doesn't. What the hell? Come on, Takara, I was just bragging on you a couple months ago with the Masterpiece Prime review.
Takara doesn't chop their smokestacks. You're making me look bad.
And for the people that haven't seen this toy before, they're probably wondering what the hell this thing is. Well, that would be Jinrai. I am not calling him Haikyuu, that's stupid. This is the real Jinrai. This is Prime. This is Jinrai, the Japanese fellow. Haikyuu is a stupid green alien man. They are not the same.
That is a racist.
But anyway, Jinrai's cool. His robot mode is a little less descript than a Minicon, but strangely you can still tell what's going on. They even painted his visor in. He transforms in like 1 second, which actually forces us right into features as he turns into the Godmaster engine. And that just plugs right onto Optimus's front, and that will become more important later as that's pivotal towards his transformation. Of course, you can attach his guns on, that's predictable, and you can also open the end of the trailer and haul maybe like a mini bot in there, I guess, because it's pretty small. But the main purpose of it will be storing the super mode head in the back. Wait! We're not done yet.
Yeah, that's right. Because of this asshole repack re-release they did, we can bring this guy into the mix.
What is this? It looks like my uncle's cargo van he pimped out. This, youngsters, is God Bomber, or Apex Bomber if you want to be a dick about it. And he is what equates to DLC for this toy. And I'm not joking because you can literally buy this thing separately, hence why I said asshole re-release earlier. I can't imagine buying this thing on its own because, well, it kind of sucks ass on its own. It's like buying a PS5 controller with no PS5. It looks good, but you're going to look like a dumbass until you give it something to do. So let's do that now. Give Prime a hoist up and use his hitch to clip him in, and now you've got yourself a convoy. Yeah, I do really like this. This was one of my grails as a child. I saw that Hasbro one on Amazon for like 120 bucks, and it was always a goal to get this toy. And this was the main reason. I just loved how this looked. And with all that reconnected, he still rolls pretty good. Albeit with an agonizing squeaking sound from God Bomber's wheels. Well, that wraps up his vehicle mode, so let's transform it. The base robot is really one of those transformations where you can just do it blindfolded in like 1 second, but it's still pretty satisfying, to be honest. It's super clickety, and especially with how the legs work, but make sure you don't do it without pushing that Powermaster port in, because you could definitely break him that way. And while we're at it on the trailer, instead of going straight for the super robot, we're just going to transform to the battle station, because it's honestly really fun to do from the battle station mode. And I gotta show it off, of course. It flips down panels to reveal, well, a robot until you lay it down, and then it starts to finally come together as the battle station. All you gotta do after that is plug into the guns, and now we're in business. In robot mode, he is certainly Optimus Prime, but with a rounder head, of course. Speaking of which, you might also notice on his head that he has blue eyes instead of the first release's red eyes. Yes, this is the 2001 release that is anime accurate. That being said, I do have the original, I just gotta give it a little bit of TLC. However, I do prefer how this one looks with the blue eyes. You might also notice that the blue on the arms and the blue on the legs do not quite match. That's because around the time that the horror of gold plastic syndrome was kicking off and everyone was shaking in their size 6 boots, this blue plastic was behind it and it was crumbling, snapping, and sometimes just straight up shattering from pressure. And nobody was noticing. And of course, mine fell victim to it, and I had to get some American parts to fix it. S-King Blue, you tried to warn us, man. Like the Paul Revere of Transformers. So yeah, mine have American legs. But hey, if there was ever a way to stand, why not on American legs?
That is a racist.
Not now, David, not now! Go back to your room!
I mean, the robot mode looks cool, but he's got jack shit to do. Even less so than his predecessor. At least he could raise his gun up in a normal way. Well, for the most part. This guy can't raise his all the way, so he either has to shoot something directly below him, or he's got to do a pelvic thrust while he's firing his rifles.
Are we sure Oshima didn't design this figure? Sorry, that might be my PTSD talking.
So yeah, he can't hold his rifles forward unless you have him situated in the right way. But other than that, he really doesn't do shit. But what do you expect? It's a G1 toy. You can't really do anything with the base either except stand there and tell it who to nuke. But that's where Jinrai comes in. You can take Jinrai and put him on the turret here and have him operate it, or you could just have him stand on the ramps. But you could also take another Powermaster if you had one and put it on the other side. So that's nice. The only thing is he kind of looks like he's riding a mechanical bull when he's sitting on it. Well, from here it's time to start the main event, which is the super mode. And there's something really satisfying about going from the base mode to the super mode. I don't know, it just feels like he's standing up in a grand way. I don't really get why I get enjoyment out of that. There's just something funny about it, I guess. It's basically simple as standing the base up and then crumpling the smaller Prime into a cube, shoving him into the chest, and plopping the giant super mode head on top. Oh, hell yeah. Now this, to me, embodies what G1 is all about. Big, chunky brick fellas that look hella cool and would have been a hoot to play with back in the day. Which is why we want a modern one, Hasbro. No, not like that. And can I just say that this guy looks leaps and bounds better than the American release, especially with those extending fists. Hasbro, you cheap fucks. This really was the first step in Takara one-upping Hasbro until the brand unification. But yeah, I really like how this whole thing comes together, and I really like it when they work the trailer in with the main bot mode on super modes. And this is like the only time until Cybertron where a super mode embodies the original form. And on top of that, he's just gigantic. I love that. As for features, it's basically just the gun show, as he can finally use his rifles the right way, and you get these massive cannons that were featured in the vehicle mode, and they kind of call back to the smokestacks, which I really like. And now we finally get to bring this guy back in. So yeah, this guy can become a big pal for Optimus Prime. Basically, he's Overload from Armada because he doesn't have any personality and it just responds to commands that Optimus gives him, so yeah. But I guess they kind of look cool standing together. One thing you got to keep in mind though is this guy is complete and utter parts forming. But I think it's just because he's kind of an afterthought, and that's okay considering what he has to do and how big he is. But seriously, would you want this on its own? Don't act like the answer is yes. Now his main feature is Optimus's last one, so let's pull him to fucking pieces. This is the God Ginrai form, or what Hasbro calls the Apex armor. But that's lame. God Jinrai's way cooler. This is an absolute triumph in the Japanese lineup and a magnificent piece. God Bomber adds to Optimus extensions to his legs, bigger arm gauntlets, a chrome chest plate, and a BFG that fits right onto his shoulder perfectly due to that special peg on it. And he's got the wing pack on the back, which you can't go wrong with. I just love how this guy looks at the end of it all, and how great it feels in your hands too. It's really got some weight to it. Truly a figure of a bygone era boasting this kind of weight. The only thing is, the articulation is little to none. His arms and hips are literally all he's got, but seriously, that's a non-issue because once again, it's a G1 figure. Overall, I love this set. It was one of my holy grails growing up for a long time, specifically the commemorative American release when I saw it on Amazon. I never got my hands on it, so finding this was definitely a consolation. I mean, it's the Japanese version for crying out loud. And I can tell you this, it probably won't be the last Japanese G1 figure we take a look at, considering Bai's got a ton of them for great prices, and I just keep finding them left and right. The trick is finding them complete. That's going to be a challenge, but overall, I really look forward to reviewing more of these guys.
With that being said, keep growing your collections. Treebot out.